I'm your host, Salim bin Mohammed Rafi, and here is your YouTube channel Zamir Universal. Is the idol worship returning back as our holy prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, prophesied and predicted that Islam will once again face, on the name of modernization, the same idol worship challenge, and to keep the religious values of Islam strictly according to the Holy Quran will be done with on the name of modernization. And what we see here, one devil following the UAE chap who built the largest temple and brought all idols and was proud on the name of modernization and pluralism and tolerance about other religions, that he built that temple and has the opening ceremony with the butcher of Gujarat, the man anti-Islam who desecrated the Babri Mosque 500 years old and who feels proud in killing Muslims who are transporting cow, although India is the largest exporter of beef in the world, but it's the Hindus' honor, that's okay. But as long as Muslims or there is azan and they pray, they will obstruct to it, they will go to the court and the court will decide in the favor of Hinduism. There is not one single Muslim minister in the Indian federal government, and you can see for that for the last 14 years and now in the next 4 years, which will be total of 18 years, with a BJP or an RSS ideology which is Hindua. Only Hindu can live in India, and it's a matter of shame for the UAE prince and for Mohammed bin Sulaiman. And these two devils have, instead of modernizing themselves and have F-35 and challenge the rest of the world and build their defenses, they want to get the nudity, they want to get back to what the pre-Islam era was and bring in idol, and they are having in their own lifetime their gold statues and their wishes to have those statues in every city of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Now, there cannot be any more tragic thing than this
devotion to God. However, as generations passed and the original intent faded from memory, these images shifted from being mere reminders to objects of worship themselves. This transition from reverence to idolatry is crucial in understanding the Islamic prohibition against creating images of sentient beings. Islam's strict stance against idolatry is rooted in its core objective to worship Allah alone, without intermediaries or physical representations. This principle is designed to prevent the very misstep that occurred historically, where objects intended to inspire piety became idols themselves. Today, the introduction of any form of imagery that could be perceived as an object of reverence, such as the golden statue of a current leader, raises significant concerns within the Muslim community. It reflects a potential forgetting of the painful lessons of history, where what begins as symbolic respect can evolve into something that contravenes the fundamental Islamic prohibition against idolatry. The community's reaction to such developments is not just about the object itself, but about what it represents, a possible drift towards the very practices that early Islam sought to eradicate. This chapter, then, is not only a recounting of a historical lesson, but also a warning and a call to vigilance for the Muslim community today. It invites us to reflect on how we honor our leaders and our past, without stepping over the theological boundaries set by our faith. It challenges us to consider the implications of our actions, not only for our time, but for future generations, who may look to our examples as they navigate their own interpretations of faith and practice. By understanding these pivotal historical and contemporary issues, we are better equipped to uphold the integrity of our faith amidst the complexities of modern influences and cultural exchanges. Revisiting the Prophet's warnings. Prophet Muhammad's foresight into the future challenges of Islam is deeply embedded within his teachings. His hadiths often spoke of Islam returning to a state of being perceived as strange, much like it was during its inception. This prophecy is particularly poignant today, as the Muslim community finds itself at a crossroads between historical traditions and modern societal changes. The Prophet warned that Islam would revert to its old position of being strange, a concept that has profound implications in a world where global cultures increasingly intermingle. This strangeness is not merely about societal perceptions, but touches on the core of Islamic identity and practice. It suggests a future where Muslims may feel alienated within their own communities or misunderstood by the societies they live in. The feeling of alienation can be exacerbated by the rapid secularization of societies, the dilution of traditional values, and the rise of ideologies that conflict with Islamic principles. This prophecy serves as a reminder for Muslims to hold steadfast to their beliefs and values, even when they might seem out of step with mainstream cultural trends. The Prophet's warnings extend beyond the metaphysical to address tangible changes within the community. He predicted that times would come when the community would witness leaders who might lead them away from the teachings of the Quran and Sunnah. Such misguidance could manifest in various forms, including the adoption of practices antithetical to Islam's core teachings, such as the erection of statues or the endorsement of idolatrous behaviors that the community might unknowingly begin to accept. Understanding these warnings is crucial for the contemporary Muslim community as it navigates challenges of integration, identity, and faith. It encourages a proactive approach to education and dialogue within the community to ensure that the essence of Islamic teachings is not lost in the noise of modern life, but is instead reaffirmed and revitalized. Cultural transformation in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia's recent cultural transformations under the leadership of Mohammed bin Salman have sparked significant discourse on the balance between modernization and religious tradition. The Crown Prince's vision for the country includes substantial social and economic reforms aimed at reducing Saudi Arabia's dependence on oil and diversifying its economy, a plan known as Vision 2030. Part of this vision involves liberalizing certain aspects of Saudi society, including lifting bans on public concerts and cinemas and allowing women to drive. These changes, while celebrated as steps toward modernization and economic development, also raise questions about the potential secularization of Saudi society. This concern is compounded by the introduction of Western cultural influences, such as Hollywood celebrities and entertainment industries, into the kingdom. Such moves are seen by some as a pivot away from the conservative Islamic values that have long characterized Saudi governance and social life. Moreover, the strategy to attract Western tourism and investments through such cultural openings is viewed by others as a double-edged sword. While it may bolster the economy and create a more open society, it also poses challenges to maintaining the religious and cultural purity as dictated by traditional Islamic principles. The introduction of events and symbols that could be perceived as contrary to Islamic teachings, like the promotion of public concerts and the erection of statues, highlights the tension between economic ambitions and religious orthodoxy. This cultural shift in Saudi Arabia is a microcosm of the broader challenges facing many Muslim-majority countries today. How they manage the interplay between preserving Islamic traditions and adapting to global changes is of critical importance. It also underscores the need for thoughtful leadership that can navigate these complex waters without compromising the foundational values of the faith. Both of these discussions, reflecting on the Prophet's warnings and observing Saudi Arabia's cultural shifts, are essential for the Muslim community worldwide. They offer insights into the dynamics of maintaining religious integrity in the face of rapid societal changes and provide a framework for how Muslims might engage with the world while staying true to their spiritual and cultural heritage. The future of the Ummah. The future of the Muslim community, or Ummah, is a topic of paramount importance and considerable debate within Islamic circles. As global forces reshape the cultural landscapes of nations, the Ummah faces the challenge of navigating these transformations while holding steadfast to the tenets of Islam. This challenge is amplified by the prophetic warnings about periods of misguidance and the allure of practices that diverge from Islamic teachings. In the face of such challenges, the Ummah must look towards a reinvigoration of faith and a deeper understanding of Islamic principles. The Prophet Muhammad's insights into the future spoke of a time when Islam would once again become strange, suggesting a disconnection between the practices of the community and the core principles it was founded upon. This prediction underscores the need for renewal, a return to the Quranic teachings and the Sunnah to ensure that the essence of Islam is not diluted. This renewal involves not only a reaffirmation of faith, but also a robust engagement with the modern world. It calls for educational reforms that include comprehensive Islamic studies, fostering a generation that is well versed in their religion and competent to deal with contemporary issues. It also involves community efforts to support one another through these changing times, ensuring that the bonds of Ummah are strengthened rather than weakened by external pressures. Moreover, the future of the Ummah hinges on its ability to articulate a vision of Islam that is inclusive, progressive, and reflective of its fundamental values of peace, justice, and compassion. This vision must address not only spiritual and moral concerns, but also socio-economic challenges, providing guidance on issues ranging from poverty and education to environmental stewardship and global peace. Calls for renewal. As we consider the future of the Ummah and the challenges it faces, the call for renewal becomes increasingly urgent. This renewal must be rooted in a comprehensive understanding of Islamic teachings and a sincere effort to apply these teachings in the context of the modern world. The calls for renewal are not just about revisiting religious texts, but also about actively engaging with these texts to extract relevant lessons for today's unique challenges. Renewal involves re-engaging with the Quran and the Hadith as living documents that offer timeless wisdom. It means looking beyond the literal interpretations to understand the deeper meanings and applications of these texts. This process requires the efforts of scholars, educators, community leaders, and lay Muslims, all working together to foster an environment where learning and discussion flourish. This renewal also means addressing the misconceptions about Islam that contribute to its perception as a strange religion. It involves outreach efforts that explain Islamic principles to non-Muslims and initiatives that encourage Muslims to live out the values of their faith openly and positively. Through such efforts, Islam can be understood not just as a religion, but as a way of life that offers solutions to global issues. Moreover, renewal requires a critical examination of cultural practices that have become associated with Islam, but may not have a basis in its core teachings. This examination will help distinguish cultural traditions from religious obligations, allowing for a more authentic expression of Islamic identity. In conclusion, the call for renewal is a call to action for every member of the Ummah. It is an invitation to deepen our understanding of our faith, to live out its teachings with conviction and clarity, and to contribute positively to the world around us. By answering this call, we ensure that Islam remains a vibrant and vital force in addressing the spiritual and worldly needs of humanity.
भारत के प्राचीन मंदिर जो आर्ट और आर्किटेक्चर का बेमिसाल नमूना है, जो अपने गौरवशाली अतीत की कहानी खुद कहते हैं, क्या किसी भारतीय को अपने मेहमानों के सामने अपनी देश की इतनी पुरानी कल्चरल हेरिटेज, प्राचीन मंदिर, मस्जिद या गुरुद्वारे दिखाने में कभी शर्म आ सकती है? लेकिन भारत के पहले प्रधानमंत्री जवाहरलाल नेहरू मंदिरों को लेकर इतने शर्मिंदा और पछतावे में थे कि जब दिसंबर 1955 में सऊदी किंग सऊद बिन अब्दुल अजीज अल सऊद भारत के दौरे पर आए तो नेहरू ने काशी के सभी देवी देवताओं और मंदिरों को ढकने के लिए कहा, और वो भी तब जब सऊदी राजा भारत के प्राचीन शहर काशी का दौरा कर रहे थे। आज की इस वीडियो में हम नेहरू जी के समय का एक ऐसा किस्सा बताने जा रहे हैं जो शायद आप में से कई लोग ना जानते हों। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं आज की इस वीडियो को। एक हिस्टोरिकल विजिट के दौरान सऊदी किंग ने पीएम नेहरू के निमंत्रण पर भारत की 17 दिन की लंबी यात्रा की। 4 दिसंबर 1955 को सऊदी के राजा का पूरे शाही अंदाज में गर्मजोशी से स्वागत किया गया। इस विजिट के दौरान उनके साथ उनके परिवार के और भी कई लोग शामिल थे और वो मुंबई, हैदराबाद, मैसूर, शिमला, आगरा, अलीगढ़ जैसे कई भारतीय शहरों का दौरा कर रहे थे। जब सऊदी राजा वाराणसी पहुंचे तो उस समय के इंडियन प्राइम मिनिस्टर जवाहरलाल नेहरू ने राजा के काफिले के रास्ते में आने वाले सभी मंदिरों और मूर्तियों को पर्दे से ढकने का आदेश दिया। जब तक सऊदी किंग सऊद बिन अब्दुल अजीज वाराणसी में रहे तब तक शहर की सभी सरकारी इमारतों को एक ऐसे पर्दे से ढक दिया गया जिन पर आयतें और कलमा लिखा हुआ था। और सिर्फ यही नहीं, मंदिरों में पूजा और आरती तक बंद कर दी गई थी। और तब बनारस के एक मुस्लिम राइटर नजीर बनारसी ने हिंदुओं का मजाक बनाते हुए लिखा था, अदना सा गुलाम उनका गुजरा था बनारस से, मुंह अपना छुपाते थे काशी के सनम खाने। सनम खाना का मतलब होता है मंदिर। लेकिन ठीक उसके कुछ दिनों बाद ही 25 सितंबर 1956 को भारत के पहले प्रधानमंत्री नेहरू भी सऊदी के साथ अपने डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशंस को और मजबूत करने के लिए सऊदी अरब के दौरे पर गए। पर क्या सऊदी किंग ने नेहरू के स्वागत के लिए कोई मंदिर बनवाया? सऊदी अरब में मंदिर की कल्पना भी नहीं की जा सकती थी क्योंकि ये उनकी धार्मिक आस्था के खिलाफ है। दूसरे शब्दों में सऊदी अरब ने अपनी कल्चरल हेरिटेज से कोई समझौता नहीं किया, लेकिन नेहरू सऊदी किंग को खुश करने के लिए सिर झुकाए खड़े थे और वो वाराणसी, जिसको इस दुनिया का सबसे पुराना लिविंग सिटी माना जाता है, उसको दुनिया से छिपाते फिर रहे थे। आखिर प्रधानमंत्री नेहरू किस मानसिक गुलामी से पीड़ित थे? भारत की सबसे पुरानी और बेसिक कल्चरल हेरिटेज में से एक मंदिरों और देवी देवताओं को ढकने की क्या जरूरत थी? काशी भारत के सबसे पवित्र शहरों में से एक है और न जाने कितने प्राचीन मंदिरों से भरा पड़ा है, और काशी विश्वनाथ भगवान शिव के 12 ज्योतिर्लिंगों में से एक है। ये वही शहर है जिस पर कई विदेशी इस्लामिक इन्वेडर्स ने बेरहमी से हमला किया और काशी के मंदिरों और इमारतों को नुकसान पहुंचाया, जिसमें औरंगजेब भी शामिल था। और उस मानसिक गुलामी का सबसे बुरा रूप प्रधानमंत्री नेहरू द्वारा दिखाया गया जब उन्होंने सऊदी किंग से दुनिया को यह बताने के लिए कहा कि भारतीय मुसलमानों का भाग्य सुरक्षित हाथों में है। भारत की सभ्यता के घाव मस्जिदों के रूप में बहुत गहरे हैं। इनमें से ज्यादातर मस्जिदें मंदिरों को तोड़कर बनाई गई थीं, पर नेहरू ने उन हमलावरों की आस्थाओं का बचाव क्यों किया? नेहरू ने हमारे देश की कल्चरल हेरिटेज को सऊदी किंग के सामने नीचा क्यों दिखाया? सऊदी किंग चाहे अपने देश में जो करते, लेकिन उस समय भारत को भी उसका पालन क्यों करना पड़ा? नेहरू जी ने भले ही कुछ अच्छे काम भी किए होंगे, लेकिन एक आम भारतीय ये भी जानता है कि नेहरू जी ने हमारे देश को बहुत नुकसान भी पहुंचाया है। फिर चाहे वो 1949 की इंडो पाक वार हो, जिसमें भारतीय सेना ने पाकिस्तान को धूल चटा दी थी, पर नेहरू की दखलंदाजी की वजह से यूनाइटेड नेशंस ने लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल खींच दी और वो एरिया आज पाकिस्तान ऑक्युपाइड कश्मीर यानी POK के नाम से जाना जाता है। ठीक वैसा ही कुछ उन दिनों हिंदी चीनी भाई भाई का नारा देकर भी किया, जिसका रिजल्ट ये निकला कि भारत 1962 का युद्ध हार गया और उसका खामियाजा हम आज तक अक्साई चीन के रूप में भुगत रहे हैं। आजादी से पहले भी नेहरू जी को अक्सर अंग्रेजों की जी हुजूरी करते और माउंट एडवीना के लिए सिगरेट जलाते हुए और खुद माउंट बैटन की शेव करते हुए देखा जा सकता है। ये तस्वीरें साफ करती हैं कि नेहरू जी को आजादी से ज्यादा सिर्फ पावर और पॉलिटिक्स में आने से मतलब था। आखिर नेशनल डेवलपमेंट के लिए नेहरू का नजरिया क्या था? मानसिक गुलामी का परिचय देकर इस्लामिक हमलावरों का बचाव और महिमा मंडन करना कौन कहता है? अगर कोई नेशन फ्यूचर में अपने पूरे पोटेंशियल के साथ डेवलप करना चाहता है तो उसे अपने अतीत के बारे में जरूर पता होना चाहिए, ताकि वो गलतियां फ्यूचर में दोबारा ना दोहराई जाएं जो एक बार हो चुकी हैं। भारत के 1/3 से भी ज्यादा हिस्से पर कब्जा करने वाले विदेशी इस्लामिक आक्रमणकारियों ने भारतीय सभ्यता को ऐसे दर्दनाक घाव दिए हैं जो कभी भरे नहीं जा सकते, और उसके बाद ब्रिटिशर्स ने भी भारत को एक्सप्लॉइट करने में कोई कसर नहीं छोड़ी। लेकिन ये सब कम था क्या जो आजादी के बाद नेहरूवादी विचारधारा ने भारत को अपनी जड़ों, धर्म और सांस्कृतिक विरासत को अपमानित करना सिखाया और भारतीयों को मानसिक रूप से फिर भी
How does it feel then when you drive?
It's beautiful.
We are entering King Khalid Mosque, the place the government does not want us to film. This really shouldn't be that hard. And who's this?
He's my director.
Your director.
I don't know to say fortunately or unfortunately. It's something in between.
Director here.
He think he is the boss.
Okay, let's walk.
Hatun isn't just navigating motorways. She's also taking on the male-dominated world of comedy.
The show is Noon and Niswa. So the letter Noon and Niswa, we use it to address women. Not to say that it's a women's show, because whenever you say women, it means makeup, it means fashion, it means cooking, but no. It was about the woman perspective.
And action.
Is it unusual to see a woman like Hatun fronting her own program and writing her own program in Saudi?
Kinda yes. I think Hatun, maybe you are the first woman came in the
Think
YouTube.
about first and last.
Her sketches are about everyday life for women, but put the spotlight on some important social issues.
ماني سامعتك خلاص شوية أكلمك.
Before the driving ban was lifted, this one went viral.
ترى أهم رجل في حياة المرأة السعودية هو السواق. ايوه لا تنصدم، اهم رجل في حياتنا هو السواق. ولو جلست في البيت ترى عادي، في شخص مهم جدا مره في البيت لازم كمان تقدمي له فروض الولاء والطاعه. بسم الله هذا جابوه هنا.
ايش هذا؟
سكر طيب.
يقولوا هذا كم دقيقة دحين؟ إنت شاء هذا
طيب
مرة
خلاص
بيستمر
خارج
بالسيارة.
دقيقتين.
هيا انتوا اجلسوا هنا.
لا لا تروح.
أنا بيرو.
لا.
What are you trying to do with the show? Are you trying to change opinions and change perspectives? What would you say the mission is?
A lot of people they are asking me this. If I want to impose changes, I would say no. What I want to do is that I want to tackle the issues. I want to make them a topic for everybody to talk about. And if they decided to change, it's up to them.
You want to spark a discussion though, right?
That's it, exactly. Creating a discourse, creating a dialogue is just good. For me, it's just good. If women, if people, they are talking about the episode on WhatsApp, I'm really happy with that.
But this is a deeply religious country where Islamic clerics and sheikhs wield tremendous power. As the enforcers of Sharia law, I want to know their perspective on the changes taking place here. Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? But with our every step being watched, I need government permission.
I've heard that our letter hasn't got a signature yet to film at the mosque, and I'm just wondering...
Before arriving, the government told me an interview with a sheikh would be sensitive.
So do you think is it going to be all right? Is it looking like there's any problems, or...
No, no problem. But the Sheikh wanted to be like officially request. He didn't want to like just do it by himself, you know, and somebody later say why he did it. So request and all that. Just
Okay.
the paperwork.
Paperwork. Okay. Bye-bye.
The interview is delayed because the Sheikh wants to be sure the government is happy for him to speak. The reforms are peeling back some of the ways Sharia law reaches into women's everyday lives.
So, hey. How you doing? Me too.
Like any young 22-year-old, for Hind, the most exciting change is around fashion.
Do you feel like you have more options now in terms of fashion?
Oh, for sure. We have more option. We have local Saudi designers.
Hind is taking me to buy an abaya, the Islamic cloak women are required to wear in public.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Styles used to be tightly controlled by religious police. But now the Crown Prince has stripped them of their powers to arrest.
It's really a big change. In the back days, the religious police came to look for the abaya stores. If there's a store with a colorful abaya, they took it. They have the right to take it from the place, yeah. Because it's not allowed to wear colorful abaya.
So this whole store would have been black?
Yeah.
So how does it feel being able to wear that on the outside now?
You know, I feel more happier now. I feel colorful. I feel that I can express myself more with this color. This is my personality, you know.
Hind isn't just after colour. She also needs functionality because she's actually a personal trainer, a rare thing for women in Saudi.
Okay, so how do you pick a sporty abaya in here? What are you looking for?
So I always look for clothes abaya, just to make sure you are covered all the time.
Relaxing the rules around abaya styles means she can exercise in public.
Since now I can run, I can wear sports abaya, and it will really proper for running. I feel more comfortable, you know?
That's huge.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. Like something was holding me back and now I'm free with no limits. You know, it's really a big change.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Believe me, it is. You will know how that awesome when you run with abaya.
Tonight, Hind has invited me to join Riyadh Urban Runners. Aged 14 to 40, they're the city's first female running club.
Okay, ladies, welcome to our first run of the season. We are Riyadh Urban Runners. If it's your first time, take your time. Don't worry about your speed. We just want you to feel comfortable running outdoors and enjoy it.
Yalla, girls, we're going. Come on, let's go. Woo, girls.
Religious conservatives condemned women's sports for decades. So exercising in public means facing a huge cultural taboo.
So how are you feeling? You guys are the first time runners, right? Yes. How does it feel?
It feels amazing.
We feel very energized.
Come on, come on.
Go!
Yalla, have a good time.
I was worried about if someone would give me stares. Then like people are just supporting us and little kids, they were like cheering for me.
And so where would you normally run before here?
I didn't run anywhere. Usually I used to try to run on treadmills, but I end up too tired and too bored because it's indoors and I stopped.
Simply being allowed to run around the block represents a massive shift in attitudes here and how women are perceived. But there is still a very clear line these girls aren't yet comfortable to cross.
You guys are just running as a female-only group right now.
Yeah.
Why is that?
People or society still need time to accept mixed group or members. They need time.
Why is it important that change like this happens step by step and incrementally?
So if I come and run directly to you, you will be afraid. But if I come walking to you step by step, you won't feel that I'm against you or something. That's how we accept that rules or new changes, step by step, to accept it and to make the society accept it.
Okay, guys. I need
They're not popular.
As women expand their presence in public life, not everyone is happy. Some fear the kingdom is losing its Islamic principles under the new reforms.
Now we are entering King Khalid Mosque, the place the government does not apparently want us to film.
I'm trying again to interview the Sheikh. I want to know if he has any reservations about Vision 2030.
Just need to wait for our government minder to turn up to help us get inside. So are we allowed to film in here today? What's the vibe?
Now I wanted to check that because he scared me a little bit when he called me, honestly.
Who?
Our government minder tells us another foreign crew attempted to film the mosque without permission. He says there were serious repercussions for the minder involved.
I think it just shows you how nervous the government is right now about anybody filming anything slightly controversial that doesn't fit their party line.
Eventually we do get permission and make it into the mosque. But we're told we can't talk to anyone. All I can do is sit at the back of the room and watch.
This gruesome new detail that affirmed missing US-based journalist Jamal Khashoggi is no longer alive.
Any likelihood that this type of thing could have happened without the Crown Prince's knowledge?
These are the kinds of questions I think a lot of people want to know the answer to.
Right now there is a huge story unfolding right across the world regarding Saudi Arabia. A Saudi journalist and dissident is missing after entering a Saudi Arabian embassy in Turkey. It just goes to show the real risk and the real danger in speaking out here in Saudi Arabia and having a voice and being critical of anything to do with the regime.
When I went to the Saudi embassy last year, I was questioned and interrogated. I couldn't believe that I walked out of there.
Suddenly, the whole world is aware just how dangerous it can be to criticise the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Several human rights groups warned me against contacting any activists living inside the kingdom for their own safety.
Safa.
Hi.
How are you doing? Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too.
So back in Sydney, I find someone willing to question the reforms. Saudi-born artist, Safa.
This is Hatoun Al-Fassi. She's an academic and an important voice in women's activism. Lujain Hazloul. She's been imprisoned before for defying the driving ban.
So where are these individuals right now?
The last I've heard is that they've all been imprisoned.
Some of these activists were detained pushing for the very reforms the Crown Prince introduced. Safa was also flagged by authorities when one of her artworks protesting guardianship laws went viral.
most radical, but I just didn't think it would be that influential. Oh, that's another good one, actually.
So Safa, why are you doing this interview?
I've never actually done a television interview. I've always refused to do television interviews. And I just feel like all of these voices have been silenced, and if I don't speak out, who's going to speak out?
What does the case surrounding Jamal Khashoggi say to you?
It's close home to me because when I went to the Saudi embassy last year, I was questioned and interrogated by intelligence. And I actually wrote to the Australian immigration telling them that I couldn't believe that I walked out of there.
Safa now lives in self-imposed exile, unable to return home. She fears being detained or slapped with a travel ban if she does.
There's no debate in Saudi. Anyone who says anything that is remotely against the government is being silenced. It says that this country has a long way to go in terms of freedom of speech. And if the West doesn't do something drastic, none of us are safe. So I feel like all of these reforms are just merely superficial to perhaps please the West, to get the West off the royals' back, to improve the image of Saudi abroad.
Back in Jeddah, Hatun Qadi admits her life has changed for the better because of the reforms.
أنا كنت أعمل المدونة حقتي كان فيها شخصية أم وشخصية ولدين وسواق وشغالة ومديرة مدرسة. هذا مرة حلو عارفة كيف؟ أيوة هذه اعترف.
But I wonder how she manages to operate when it comes to comedy and finding safe material.
I would like that I created a voice of the modest woman. If I cross the line with the society, I will even lose this small space. So I would rather work within the boundaries and convey my message rather than trying to push the lines. It's too risky for me, and I am not this kind of person. I don't like to push boundaries.
3, 2, 1, and action.
But Hatun does raise edgy topics.
Cut. Playback, please.
يلا كل عشان بكرة تكبر وتصير رجال، بكرة تصير ولي أمري. أضرب أمري يا حبيب أمك أنت. يا ناس على ولي أمري.
لا معلش اسمحوا لي، هذا حشيش فاخر. ليه؟ يعني دحين لو هو استخدم حقه ومنعني من السفر، هذا ايش معناته؟ معناته صار ما شاء الله تبارك الله كده غضيب والدين بالضوابط الشرعية.
Like Saudi's lingering guardianship laws that still give men legal control over women in many aspects of life, like applying for a passport, travel, or even just exiting prison.
I approached the issue from the point of view of how the idea of guardianship is affecting us. So I don't usually approach it from we need to change this, we need to do this, we need to do that. I bring you the case. I bring my daily how this guardianship thing is affecting my daily life.
Are there no-go areas when it comes to comedy in Saudi Arabia?
Of course, for me, my self-imposed rules: no sex, no foul language, no politics, and no religion. Because I am a conservative person, and those are personal boundaries. But when it comes to my show, I like to think of myself as a normal housewife, as a normal citizen.
But there are strict laws around satire.
And cut. Amazing.
We are aware of them. They are not new. We knew about those rules since day one, and we know them, and we respect them.
I can't help but feel there's an elephant in the room when it comes to questions around freedom of speech.
We are... Wa alaikum assalam.
But it turns out it's just our government minder.
حضرتك من وزارة الإعلام؟ أنت المرافق معاهم؟ طب ما شفناك منور الله يديك العافية. طيب. He's from the Ministry of Information. No, Ministry of Media. Okay.
Hello again.
He said that he just wants to take pictures. Okay.
This is the world Hatun is operating in. While YouTube has given her a platform, it would be naive to think the government isn't also watching. Back in Riyadh, I'm trying one last time to get the Sheikh to speak about his views on the reforms. Don't we already have the permissions? Because we've got the permissions, yeah? We've got letters that say that we can do that.
The thing is, we sent them a letter, but the facility itself, King Khalid, the facility itself, did not reply from them back with a yes to Sheikh.
But as more details of Jamal Khashoggi's death come out, it seems nobody wants to risk criticising the regime. Now it's the mosque who is shutting things down. It's not just activists being locked up. Dozens of hardline clerics have also been imprisoned. So I'm just messaging right now with our contacts at the mosque, and they've just replied saying that they can't because the foundation at the mosque has forbid them from speaking. And I asked if I could call them to chat this through with them a little bit more, and he's replied saying he might get into trouble, sorry. So all forms of communication have been chopped off, stopped, vetoed. It's clear freedom of speech remains precarious.
Hello again. Everyone's here.
From the inside, for young people like Hind, the smallest of changes cannot be underestimated.
I want to just send that message to the media that Saudi Arabia changed. Everyone think that Saudi Arabia, they don't have that freedom, they are in small spaces, but that's not the case. We had our freedom, but in our own corners.
Before I say goodbye, I'm invited to join Hind at a family gathering.
Beautiful daughter.
Amongst her mum and siblings, I find the most genuine signs of change.
In our family, it's like democracy. We all agree on one thing.
In the family decisions, I go for mom first. Yeah, she's the one who give me the permission, stuff like that. She been the mother, the father, and the sister, the friend. She been everything. She made her own money. She raised us. She just give us our her life, her years. Yeah.
So your mum is actually pretty ahead of her own time, really.
Yeah.
بالعكس شعرنا فخورة فيها وبعدين هي يعني إنسانة يعني هي طموحة.
So how much the amount of fries you eat usually?
Oh, that's plenty. Thank you.
Not all families may be like Hind's, but hers is already leading the way to 2030.
I'm so glad that I grew up in this country. In these 2 years, a lot of things changed, you know. It wasn't really difficult, but it's easier now, you know. So I'm really glad. I'm happy for these changes. I support it. Yeah.
As we reflect on this, it is crucial to consider the teachings of Islam regarding coexistence and respect for other religions. The Quran and Hadith provide numerous references that encourage peaceful cohabitation and respect for other faiths. However, the visibility of such a large non-Islamic religious symbol in a region known for its Islamic heritage prompts a deeper examination of our collective responses to globalization and its impact on our religious spaces. The golden statue of Mohammed bin Salman. Another development that has captured the attention of the Muslim world is the unveiling of a golden statue of Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. This statue, intended to be placed at significant sites throughout the kingdom, has sparked a considerable debate about the role of imagery and symbols in Islam. The decision to erect a golden statue of a living leader is unprecedented in the recent history of Saudi Arabia, a country that is the custodian of the two holiest sites in Islam. This act has raised profound questions about the potential shift toward practices that are traditionally considered contrary to the core Islamic tenet of aniconism, the prohibition of creating images of sentient beings. The implications of such a statue are manifold, especially in the context of Saudi Arabia, where the Islamic principles of modesty and iconoclasm have long influenced national and cultural identity. Critics argue that the statue could be seen as a form of idolatry, a practice explicitly denounced in Islam. Supporters might view it as a mere cultural or artistic representation without religious implications. Historically, Islam emerged in a context where idolatry was rampant, and the Prophet Muhammad's efforts were significantly geared towards eradicating idols and establishing monotheism. The introduction of a leader's statue in such a historically significant Islamic land is a poignant reminder of the old challenges faced by early Muslims, prompting contemporary society to reassess the boundaries of cultural expression and religious adherence. Both of these developments, the construction of the Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi and the golden statue in Saudi Arabia, serve as critical points of reflection for the Muslim Ummah. They challenge us to think about how we engage with modernity, interpret our religious texts in contemporary times, and maintain our religious identity while navigating the complexities of an increasingly interconnected world. As we continue this series, we will delve deeper into these issues, seeking insights from religious texts, scholars, and the community to guide our understanding and responses. Join us as we explore these pivotal moments in our faith and consider what they mean for the future of Islam. As we reflect on this, it is crucial to consider the teachings of Islam regarding coexistence and respect for other religions. The Quran and Hadith provide numerous references that encourage peaceful cohabitation and respect for other faiths. However, the visibility of such a large non-Islamic religious symbol in a region known for its Islamic heritage prompts a deeper examination of our collective responses to globalization and its impact on our religious spaces. The golden statue of Mohammed bin Salman. Another development that has captured the attention of the Muslim world is the unveiling of a golden statue of Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. This statue, intended to be placed at significant sites throughout the kingdom, has sparked a considerable debate about the role of imagery and symbols in Islam. The decision to erect a golden statue of a living leader is unprecedented in the recent history of Saudi Arabia, a country that is the custodian of the two holiest sites in Islam. This act has raised profound questions about the potential shift toward practices that are traditionally considered contrary to the core Islamic tenet of aniconism, the prohibition of creating images of sentient beings. The implications of such a statue are manifold, especially in the context of Saudi Arabia, where the Islamic principles of modesty and iconoclasm have long influenced national and cultural identity. Critics argue that the statue could be seen as a form of idolatry, a practice explicitly denounced in Islam. Supporters might view it as a mere cultural or artistic representation without religious implications. Historically, Islam emerged in a context where idolatry was rampant, and the Prophet Muhammad's efforts were significantly geared towards eradicating idols and establishing monotheism. The introduction of a leader's statue in such a historically significant Islamic land is a poignant reminder of the old challenges faced by early Muslims, prompting contemporary society to reassess the boundaries of cultural expression and religious adherence. Both of these developments, the construction of the Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi and the golden statue in Saudi Arabia, serve as critical points of reflection for the Muslim Ummah. They challenge us to think about how we engage with modernity, interpret our religious texts in contemporary times, and maintain our religious identity while navigating the complexities of an increasingly interconnected world. As we continue this series, we will delve deeper into these issues, seeking insights from religious texts, scholars, and the community to guide our understanding and responses. Join us as we explore these pivotal moments in our faith and consider what they mean for the future of Islam.
And if you look at their ancestors, and I will just put from the archives, King Faisal, who said, cover every idol or statue in India if you want me to visit India, and so did his father Abdul Aziz. And I will play both. And what are the dangers of having this, and how these idols or these statues came into being worshipped by this. I will give you a little short history in this documentary, and I hope, God, that this devil will stop it, and the pro-Muslim and pro-Ummah and the pure Quranic, which has been ordained, and all those actions, all those things which have been for the betterment of mankind in the Holy Quran, plainly and easily, I think, practiced by the pious followers and companions of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, the Sahabas, and from there on, in 1443 years ago, this has continued in nearly 1.9 billion Muslims all across the world. This man is a challenge, and this is why he is being humiliated and spitted upon by Netanyahu, who has challenged 57 Muslim countries. There is not one single real pure Muslim worshipper who could just face his challenge, because instead of building their defenses and the latest technology in the aircrafts and their missiles and drones, they are bringing back the idols of women, and they want their women without scarves and without their clothes, and they have allowed all sorts of Hollywood people to come in there and have musical concerts, both from Lollywood in India and from Hollywood, and so that they can have the nudity, and very soon they will have liquor, and that will be the end of this, end of the faith. And that's what has been prophesied by our Holy Prophet, that a time will come when the idols will get back into the Holy Land.
यूनिवर्सल टेलीविजन को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें, उसके बाद बेल बटन पे क्लिक करें और अपने कमेंट्स के सेक्शन में अपने कीमती जो ख्यालात का इजहार ज़रूर